Adrex and Raazu are armored. They sink like stones.
You do sink, and it's impossible to swim in heavy armor, but it's not so heavy that you can't climb back out.
Okay.
And Treble, you do hear above your head. Well, Treble, are you all the way underwater, or are you poking your head out underneath the stairs?
Like, I would be trying to hide in such a way where I could keep an eye on the situation.
But I'm asking, is your head above or below the waterline?
Below the waterline.
Below the waterline, okay. And how long do you guys stay where you are?
I need to crawl around the river and go ask Birdie to keep an eye out for Red, because now he has no idea where we are.
So you're swimming back towards Birdie?
Yeah.
Okay. Windy.
Yeah?
I just rolled a 12 on whatever that check was.
Okay.
And just to remind you,
yeah,
you have 36 of your stealth points.
Okay, so...
The information you have is I rolled a 12.
Is that something I can contest, or do I have to...
You can...
I guess I don't know what that means.
You could make a decision to spend up to 5 stealth points to make this 12 not happen.
Okay. I guess I'll spend 2 of them? I don't... 2.
See, this is the moment where you're hiding in the locker, but you have no idea where the guards are, and you don't know if it's safe to peek out and see where they are, and you don't have
I don't know what 12 is! I don't know what even dice you rolled!
I rolled a D... It was a skill check. I rolled a D20 and added the appropriate...
Alright, well, 2 sounds appropriate for a 12. I don't know.
Okay.
2.
But it's fine. If you get spotted and it's a game over, you can just reload the map. Windy.
Yeah.
As you're swimming towards Birdie, you catch a flash of light from up on the landing, directly over where Birdie is hiding. And you see lantern light swivel in your direction, and you immediately stop and press yourself up against the side of this channel.
Okay.
You don't see anything. You're blind. Because you are
Metal Gear Solid.
But your
5.
instinct tells you to do this. You wait.
Yeah, that's what magic stealth points are for.
Right. And then you inch along slowly, like you're me playing Metal Gear Solid 3, hiding in the grass, and have no idea where you're going or what you're doing.
And then, like, on me playing Metal Gear Solid 3, I go take out a helicopter pilot. No one can fly but me.
So you make your way to where Birdie is hiding underneath these stairs, and you're pretty sure nobody saw you because there's not splashing of people jumping in the water after you.
I say, Birdie, something was able to sense me up on the roof, even though I wasn't able to be seen. So watch out for that. But can you make sure you spot Red and let him know where we are?
Okay.
I'm gonna go spend 2 more stealth points, probably. I'll go back and let them know Birdie's on the case.
You're going to crawl your way back?
Yeah.
So, Red, you inject yourself into a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly are you trying to learn? Are you trying to
figure out if as a pure blood, it would be appropriate for someone living here to be a poison maker as a profession?
Okay. And the answer to that is a resounding yes. There is great status to be had for anybody who is skilled at making various poisons. It's pretty much a twisted art form, really. Purebloods are sometimes used as test subjects for various types of new poisons that are created. And what you learn is that one of the matriarchs, this Iha, the one that you were tasked with assassinating, has an almost fanatical obsession with discovering a strain of poisons that does work against Yuan-ti. None of the purebloods you're speaking with have worked with her on this. None of them were assigned to this project, but you put 2 and 2 together, and it sounds like Iha was seduced by these Hydroloths and their promise to be able to do this impossible thing.
Boy, I feel like I should send her to meet a certain
Certain blank.
what? Certain drow.
Are you trying to pass yourself off as a poisoner?
I was trying to ascertain if it would be safe to do that in the future, but right now I'm just another pureblood.
Okay, so the purebloods that you meet here that work as poisoners, they do seem to convey a sense of prestige amongst them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you pass yourself off as one of these people, you might be able to get away with it in the short term, but in the long term, people are going to ask questions like, "Okay, then who in the city do you work for? What accomplishments have you made?" That kind of thing.
Figuring that out, let's do another round of the barracks and let's see if there's any good pureblood poisoners I can impersonate. If there's anybody I could be. Yeah, let me see if I can figure out what reasonable answers to those questions that would hold up for a few minutes, but not an hour of scrutiny would be.
Okay, and that's something you can definitely do, but it's going to take more than 5 minutes.
Okay.
You'll be up here longer than you intended to be.
You know what? My companions have Birdie with them. They're completely competent in hiding. But let's do it.
Looking back down the length of the hallway,
Mm-hmm.
you do see that the outside door that you came through has been opened again, and you see lantern light out there.
Is there any way I can tell that individuals seem to be like on active guard duty versus the ones who are just congregating and resting or whatever?
Inside of the walls, it doesn't seem like anybody's on active guard duty. What it seems like is that somebody heard something outside. There was some kind of strange something.
I'll go over here like I'm in. No.
There's a man standing at the open door holding a particularly smelly pipe in his hand, and he's tapping his foot against the ground. He's an older Yuan-ti man, and you can tell just by looking at him that this is a dangerous person. He's standing alone. It looks like other Yuan-ti in the area do not want to cross him.
I'll go over and try and act as if I am also curious as to what's going on. Like I'm just another Yuan-ti in the barracks who saw or heard something.
And he looks you up and down, and he sees that your cloak is still wet from the rain outside. And he doesn't say anything to you. He just kind of grimaces as he catches your eye, but you don't see any suspicion in his face.
Yeah, that's fine. There were other Yuan-ti here that were... Can I get past him and look out the door? Or?
Yeah, standing at the doorway, you see one of them standing out here with a lantern. He's craning it up at the roof. The other one is standing next to him, and they're having a brief conversation. What they're saying is, somebody heard a noise, so-and-so climbed up the wall to check on it. It looked like some rocks were falling from above. They're talking as though the patrolmen up top are kicking rocks onto the roof, and how amazingly disrespectful this is. This is something that when they were on patrol duty up top, they would never consider doing.
Were the patrol people purebloods, or were they Malicens, or abominations?
Oh no, the patrols up top are purebloods. They wouldn't use Malicens for that.
Yeah, okay. No, I mean,
it looks like what happened was they detected that clump of rock, and it's put a few people on edge. And then this guy with the smelly pipe thinks he heard something outside of his window. And these two are checking on it for him, but they're not seeing anything now.
It's late. They should just let us sleep. We should let people who need to rest. You know how much noise it makes if even just a couple of pebbles fall the whole way down. I'm going to kind of just like crane my head outside and act like I'm looking around to see if there's anything out there. It's pretty clear there's nothing actually out here.
And the man who's not holding the lantern agrees with you. Tells the old man inside that there's nothing here. And they head back inside, leaving you out in the drizzle.
I need some air.
Okay. Birdie. Wendy found you and told you to go find out what happened to Red. So what do you do next?
Like, I'm still aware that there are... As long as there are more than one Yuan-ti over here. I am not.
You're not aware of
I'm
anything
aware.
up there. You're under. Your head is far beneath the water, and you're not in a position where you can see their light or hear their speech.
And I'm gonna close the door behind me as I step outside.
Okay.
Is there? Do I have to go over a wall to get between these, or go inside?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Door.
It's about. Hold on, I have my notes here.
Mm-hmm. And
So
the
the wall
water here
is- I'm sorry.
The water is leaving here.
Yeah, the water is flowing away from the center of the
Okay.
structure. The wall is 40 feet,
Mhm.
and this building that you're in is larger than the surrounding structures. This is a 2-story building. So the wall meets the roof,
Okay.
the tallest points of it, and then has a door going into the second floor of this structure.
And I'll pull my cloak and hood up over myself to get some shelter from the rain and make my way down to about here.
And as you head down the stairs, they left you alone up there, so nobody's watching you at the moment.
Yeah.
What's your passive perception?
Fairly high. I think it's a 15. Let me. Oh no. 12.
12? Okay, well, no, you don't see Birdie or anybody else in the water.
Mm-hmm. Kind of glance up at the roof at this point,
It's
and I start to try and make my way around this corner.
very quiet, and you're out here all alone as far as you can tell.
Is there a easy way to climb up this wall and make it onto the roof?
No easier than any other wall. There's lots of stone handhelds.
Okay,
They
yeah.
had no difficulty climbing up to investigate the rock that fell down.
Let's climb up and see if my companions are still with them.
Okay, you pull yourself up to the roof, and they're not. So a few more minutes have gone by for you guys down in the water. Windy, Birdie hasn't come back yet, nor has Red come back to the water.
All right, well, I guess I'll have to just go check for myself.
You poke your head out of the locker.
Yeah.
And as you come out of the hole in the side of the cliff, peering up, are you poking your head up out of the water or staying under the water?
I have to poke out. I can't see anything if
Oh,
I
that's
stay
right,
in the water.
So you actually kind of have to pull yourself up to the side so you can billow your cloak.
No, because billowing the cloak is just to create wind if there's no wind, but there is wind.
I'm going to give you 30 feet of vision down in the ground level. You have
Yeah,
60
that's
feet
fair.
on top.
That's fair.
And then none inside the actual buildings.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
after you get down, there's definitely somebody climbing around up on the roof where you just were a few minutes ago.
All right, well,
It's Raiden. He's holding a sword in his mouth.
yeah.
What a fucking
Makes
nerd.
sense.
However, after a moment, like
Well, I
you
haven't
haven't
gotten
heard
caught,
anybody.
so
You haven't heard anybody raise an alarm. Like nobody shouted when they saw you.
yeah, me either.
And yeah, Red. I mean, you see after you get to the top of the roof and looking around, looking back, you see Windy climb up out of the water, poke her head out.
Just climb down.
You see Windy clearly deciding whether or not she should shoot you.
So yeah, Windy, whoever's on top of the roof is climbing down towards you, but not doing so with any like speed or alarm, and you haven't heard them call out or say anything.
All right, well, it's either Red or the world's coolest Yuan-ti. So,
Wait, you mean Red's not the coolest Yuan-ti?
I mean, if it's not Red, clearly not. Either way, it's the world's coolest Yuan-ti.
And it's
World's
absolutely Red.
The world's coolest Yuan-ti has some
All right.
some sunglasses.
And I'll say, Red, I've
I'm-
got two things to tell you.
Yeah.
One is that Birdie's completely useless because this is his job. And the second thing is you have to give me that frickin' horn.
Good idea. I will lend you my horn.
The
All right, I
soundless
can.
horn?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I can probably make my way into here. What I want to do is spend a little bit more time in the barracks. I can probably come up with a cover story at that point where I could go anywhere that a Yuan-ti poisoner is able to go and, pass quick inspection. Someone asks me where I am or what I'm doing. What have you guys found out?
So
No, but
we found out that they're real good at spotting people on the roof. So you want to go investigate on your own a bit?
Yeah, they assumed that somebody in the patrol up top kicked the stones down onto the roof. Good shot.
Yeah, thanks. What we can do then, so that we don't get spotted while you're doing your investigation, we can go investigate underneath this cliff, see if it leads anywhere useful. If
Okay.
someone spots us, we can just take them out.
You say the water leaves there?
The water goes underneath the cliff.
Just beware. That's probably the latrine, but okay.
Won't be the first time.
All right, what do we want to... If you blow the horn, obviously you're in trouble.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do if I want... Like, what's our plan here? Should I try and do as much as I can by myself? Are you
If
guys
you
going to
want
try and do something?
If you want backup,
Mm-hmm.
start a fight with someone and use a code word. What's a useful word that you could use? Actually, no. I'll hear your voice. Just start a fight with anyone, and we'll hear you arguing, and we'll come get you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to investigate on my own.
How are you hearing his voice? Is that something the horn can do?
No. What I'm saying is, if he needs to, if we're not nearby, then he's fucked no matter what.
Right.
But if we happen to be nearby, and if he starts a loud argument with someone, we'll hear it.
I know
him
what I'll do.
arguing.
I'll swear at people in Draconic. Everyone
Yeah.
here has picked up plenty of that from Adrex.
Yeah.
It says on here, language draconic swears.
So I don't know that Red is particularly screwed if he's all on his own. He still has 46 stealth points he can spend in situations.
Right.
I'll just come back in, just sort of throw my cloak back, lacking I really needed to get out, get some fresh air for a minute, even in the rain.
Okay. Birdie, what
And
are
I'll
you
go
doing?
get Birdie.
I want to try and figure out a cover story that would pass, unless they go and ask the actual matriarch, just have a plausible name. Until they start researching it, will sound like, yeah, that's an actual person.
There's enough of a population here that you can just kind of be a face in the crowd.
Okay.
No possible story will stand up under severe scrutiny, but you're not
Right.
planning to be in town
Mhm.
for a long length of time. So I'll leave that up to your discretion. Pretty much anything you come
Okay.
up with will pass muster in the short term. And yeah, you find Birdie underneath the stairs still.
Birdie, you had one job.
I didn't see him.
Grab Birdie.
He's a master of disguise. I didn't know it was him.
Bring him back to the others.
Adrex
We're going to explore a latrine.
is playing the air guitar, but since it's underwater, it's technically the water guitar.
It's a water guitar, yeah.
Raazu narrows her eyes.
Tries to keep himself busy.
It's a good thing Ostrom's not a river god, otherwise this would be sacrilegious.
Maybe.
Or extremely religious.
You guys scout underneath the cliff here, and it twists and turns for a little while. And the
What is
current begins to pick up speed to the point where you realize it's going to fall off sharply. Because remember, you're not in a natural river. This has been carved out. And what's going to happen is if you keep going, where the water is going to enter into an empty space and fall back into the natural river. And it's anyone's guess how far of a drop that's going to be. So this is going to be a possible last Hail Mary escape if you need it. But if you're unlucky, you'll fall below and have to do a boss fight with the Sorrow.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this is turning into Hitman, but we've located this escape route, and let's head back. Maybe if Red isn't back yet, we can just because the rivers go underneath these buildings, right?
Not in any way that you personally could make use of, but they do flow under the buildings. The way the White State described it, some of the buildings have openings where they make use of the water inside of them in a functional way, but the openings under the actual buildings are not big enough for you to swim into. Possibly some of them are big enough for Birdie to swim into.
Right. I think that's our next strategy. If Red still needs some more time, is we send Birdie to go do some skulking. He loves skulking.
So Red, how much time do you spend crafting? Are you doing it all inside the barracks here?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I want to figure out is there any place where it would be where I would immediately blow my cover if I'm there as a pureblood without like an invitation or something like that.
Obviously, the Malison Quarters is not a place you're welcome to go unless you are escorting somebody's slaves in or out.
Okay.
If you were to go into the military area, you would just need a story like what you're doing there, what your task is, and there are going to be off-limit portions of the House of the Red Star as well, and those you would probably be very familiar with, given that it's the same Red Star that your tribe worshipped when you broke off. Basically, if you see a Malison or an Abomination or even just a pureblood of higher status than you, your best bet is to keep your head down and not go anywhere they're going.
Okay.
There's no outside areas, and the slave pens are always open to everybody. The various entrances and exits as well. It would be very odd for you to leave through the main entrance of the place all alone with no accompaniment.
Okay. And then I would like, knowing that, I would like to learn a little bit more from the purebloods. In particular, I'd like to find out if Tazashi actually had any slaves in addition to like the manservant, like any slaves that would be in the slave pens that he are his personal property.
Who's clipping their fingernails directly into their microphone? All right, fine.
I heard it.
Nobody
maybe?
own up to it.
I mean, I was clicking a pen. That was it.
Oh, that
That
sounds like
sounds believable.
Yeah, that sounds.
Red,
That's a plausible excuse.
the Malisons,
just with.
Tatsashi
Mhm.
especially, he owns lots of slaves. This manservant was a special one to him that he kept very close. Most of those slaves now have been sent to the fighting pits. Because slaves contain value in Yuan-ti culture, this can be seen as like a leveraging thing. Like, hey, if you don't play ball with us during this interrogation or whatever, who can say what happens to this really expensive slave that you had in your house? I mean, we'll just throw them into the pit and they'll get eaten by lions.
Yep.
So yeah, he will have slaves in the pens now. And yeah, so that's what you learned about his slaves. Nobody has seen this half-orc slave. So.
And the last thing I want to do is I want to find out if anybody wants to buy a Yogtagosh.
Yogtagosh?
I don't know if I spelled that right. That's how I wrote it down in my notes.
That's the orange psychedelic?
Yep.
I can't believe we brought you here to be a drug dealer.
How much of that do you actually have?
According to this, I have 2 pinches, like 2 little things. 2. Oh, sorry, I have the number 2 written down next to it in my notes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, 2.
Yeah, actually.
How much of it do you have?
What
I have 2.
2
Only
doses.
2 doses.
He can trip twice. Who are you selling this to? Are you approaching an individual or like a group?
I'm trying to figure out who would be interested in buying it, mostly because I want to find out people who... I want to find less reputable characters to try and pump them for other information.
Okay. What you learn very quickly is that you're not supposed to have this.
Exactly.
And so the answer to your question is going to be different depending on whether you approach an individual who's alone or you just come up with like a group of people and just slip into conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, who wants these drugs?
Who wants to get crunk?
How do you do, fellow Yuan-ti?
He rolls up like with a skateboard. His hat's on backwards.
He rolls so badly at deception that they think he's a cop.
You gotta tell us if you're a cop.
So yeah, are you approaching an individual or a group?
Let's find an individual.
Okay. Roll for some percentile dice. We'll leave this up to pure chance whether this Yuan-ti is amenable.
This is why
to...
D&D needs a luck stat.
Yeah. That's a 86.
Do you show them the substance or just say that you have it?
I won't show the them to it unless they. I won't show them unless I think that they might be interested in buying it and not just turning me in.
Okay, make an insight check.
That would be an insight of.
If you go to snake,
17.
17?
Yep.
Their eyes get real wide. And they seem like they're acting really interested. And so for a minute, you're like, all right, this is my guy. This is my in. But then you catch yourself because they're acting like they're really interested.
Yeah.
They ask... They're definitely interested in buying it, they say.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of curiosity as he fishes for his pouch, coin pouch. I mean, at this point, you've dragged him around the corner to like a less... He asks you how you managed to get it out of the temple.
I mean, how would you get it out of the temple? And I'll wink. Do we have eyelids?
You probably got like more eyelids than usual. One of which you can see through.
bonus eyelids.
He tells you that he wouldn't, because he would not risk crossing the matriarchs or the Red Star.
Mm-hmm.
But he's definitely acting, and he's definitely taking way too long to take money out, and he's definitely fishing you for information.
And I'll smile and put my hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, friend. You passed. I'm just trying to... Sorry, they have me trying to find a couple of foolish people so they can make an example. Apparently everything with Tahashi just got everyone on edge, and there's a couple of matriarchs who are really looking to make a big, bloody example out of someone right now. So, it's not going to be you.
And he nods. He asks you whether you've caught anyone yet.
Not yet. If you have any good ideas, I'm all ears.
Oh, said Brick Road.
Or, you know, and, it could be worth a while for whoever is in your employ. You know, if there's anybody that's causing them problems, just let me know. I can, and I'll kind of sleight of hand a dose of this stuff out of his pocket.
You're planting.
Try that.
You're planting dope on him?
I'm making a show of that. I'm sleight of handing it into his pocket, and I'm making a show of finding it on him. And that's a sleight of hand of 20.
So what's the goal here? You're gonna find.
So because I can, and I'll just kind of reach into his pocket and pull out his stuff. Make sure that whoever to have illicitly slipped this out of the temple slipped it out of the temple, and I'll hide it back in my cloak.
And your sleight of hand was
20.
Make a dexterity intimidation check.
That's a phrase I never thought I'd hear.
Phrase I wasn't planning on saying today.
Intimidate. That's only 11.
Okay.
Oh no, it's 12. Oh wait, yeah, 12.
It's a 37.
I'm better at dexterity intimidate.
He sees the trick for what it is, and you see, you've definitely made your point. And he leans in and says, "What do I gain if I turn someone in?"
Well, aside from obviously whoever you pick, you know, just not necessarily being in favor if they live through the night. We could make it worth your while. I'll reach into my purse, pull out a gold coin.
He takes it. He tells you that Este, one of the Waterman's cupbearers, Este, he doesn't tell you what race Este is.
Yeah.
But he speaks with this person with no regard whatsoever, so clearly a slave. One of the servants for the Waterman has been making inquiries about this of late, finding out if there's a source of, and rather than say it out loud, he just nods to the powder you're holding. But he's one of Iha's. He's not touchable, surely.
So if they were to find some, you're pretty sure that you would be just all is forgiven on a slave? Really?
he thinks about it. And he says, "You know of the man of who I speak." And he describes the waterman in the same terms that Whitesnake did.
But look, it's a slave. You can describe them as much as you want, but you and I both know it's just a number of platinum coins in the ledger at the end of the day.
And he's not sure that he's buying it entirely. And he tells you that at the end of the day, he would wager any number of platinum coins that the matriarch values the life of the waterman over his own. And then he adds, or your own.
Fair enough. We don't appear on any ledgers, so yeah, sometimes we're worth less.
Yeah, you glean that if you were to get Esta caught with some of this Yagtagash, it might cause problems all the way up to the matriarch.
Okay. That's good to know.
So, what is everybody else doing? You guys are going to go in and scouting out in the water? Birdie's going to try to slide somewhere in where he's not wanted?
That's the plan.
Okay. Let's start moving on in. You guys are coming in under the wall here?
Yeah.
Birdie, where are you going, and are you going alone?
Which building do you think we should go in for? Like this one? Like,
yeah, I think the rest of us maybe stick around here in the stairs, under the stairs. It seemed like you had a pretty good spot picked out, and you go listen in under the House of the Red Star.
Okay. I'm going to go this way.
No, don't, Adrex.
Adrex don't what? What was Adrex doing?
He was hopping out through the thing, and I'm like, I thought Birdie was going to scout out.
Do you just reach out and grab him by the astral thread and pull him back?
A little bit, yeah.
All right. Birdie, make a stealth check. Are you swimming through this water, or are you pulling yourself along the wall or the bottom like Windy was doing?
I'm going across the bottom. You said it's already pretty clear, so swimming.
So there's a lot of covers over the water in the form of bridges and footpaths and things. The water itself is remarkably clear because it's not flowing through earth. What that means is it's easier to spot you in the water than it would be if it was a natural river. Yeah. But nobody's likely to spot you unless somebody is actively looking down for you. Like right now, the place isn't on alert. There's no reason for people to be checking the water constantly.
But so if I were to swim, I'm just going to go along the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a stealth roll of 24. No, wait. Hold on. Where did I roll? Where did I roll?
22 is low for a rogue.
I lost the dice.
Of a billion.
I think it was 11, but it might. No, hold on. I rolled this 9, so it's 21.
He's like, okay, I gotta find a die on the table that has a number that's low enough for Brick Road to believe me, but high enough that I still make the check.
Well,
plausible deniability roll.
There is
very clear about this.
More traffic. You're cognizant of more traffic above you. The difficulty of being down in the water and using it to travel around is you can't always tell what's above you either. Because nobody's walking right along the side of the river for you to see them. Anybody walking over a bridge obviously is out of your field of view. And because your ears are underwater, it's very difficult to hear sounds. So while you're pretty confident nobody spotted you, it's also a little unnerving that you're less aware of your surroundings than you would otherwise be. Could be worse. You could be Windy in this same situation. But you pull yourself up to the front of the House of the Red Star, and you see where the water flows under these 2 stone archways underneath these stone stairs. And you see where once there might have been iron grates fitted, but there are not now.
Okay. I'm going to swim inside if I can fit.
Okay. And you get through the archway where the iron grates flow, and you pick the left arch or the right arch?
Always go left.
Always go left. And the walls do close in. They start to slope inwards slightly. to the point where you have to squeeze through. Like, you definitely would not be able to squeeze through this gap if you couldn't breathe water. This would be a good place to drown. You have dark vision, yes?
Yes.
And you go through some dark tunnels. You go forward about, I think about 100 feet, maybe a little bit less. Kind of difficult to tell. But as you're pulling yourself through this little tunnel, you become aware of a bright light ahead of you, above you. The water opens up into one of the chambers.
Okay.
And make me a Constitution saving throw at advantage. DC is 10.
Your eyes pop out of your head.
That's a 20 and a 15, so nat 20 and a 15. That's like the third nat 20 I've rolled today.
Waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Water breathing doesn't actually describe the mechanism by which you breathe the water, does it?
No.
Because that's almost pertinent information right here. I'm going to say you have to let the water flow into your mouth and nose in order to breathe it. Like, if you clamp down your mouth and nose, it's just like holding your breath in air. And the water becomes very slightly more acrid. There's definitely trace amounts of some kind of chemical or something that's causing tingly feelings in the back of your cheeks and deep in your nostrils. And the deeper you go towards this light, you also feel it start to sting your eyes a little bit. Doesn't cause you any pain or discomfort other than this mild itch.
Birdie found the latrine.
In the middle of the temple?
We don't know what kind of god that is.
McDohl lives in Texas. He just walks into the church and takes a crap on the floor.
Yeah.
That's how they do there, I guess. No respect. What does Birdie do?
So I can see out of the so I'm at the bottom of this pool of water, right? This channel of water,
No.
and I can see.
You're in this tight tunnel. The tunnel
okay.
opens up into a pool, so you can see just the glow of this bright light permeating down through the water and into the entrance of your tunnel.
Is the water still clear, or is it a different color?
You can't perceive color because you're in a dark area.
So okay, well I'm going to swim outside, swim towards the light.
Okay, and after
I'm going to
pull yourself back into the archway. And then what?
Wait, did I just go around in a big circle?
Oh, I thought you said you turned around and swam.
No,
back
I said swim towards the light.
towards the light. Okay.
You die instantly.
Birdie, I have a 5 on my roll. Are there any stealth points you would like to wager to make this 5 go away?
I'll spend 1.
On a 5? Okay. I mean, you've got plenty.
Yeah.
You put your hands out to pull yourself out of this tunnel that you're squeezed into, and glancing upward for a moment, you see movement. You see a face. Just for a split second, you duck back in the tunnel, and there's movement in the water. There is a white light permeating from inside this pool, and you realize that the face is bound. There's something pulled across its eyes. It can't see you. What do you do next?
Well, if there is a person at the edge of the pool there, then all I can do is just go back out the way I came.
Well, right here at the edge of the tunnel, you're not going to be able to be spotted.
Okay, well, how big is can I tell how big the room that this pool is in is?
Not without pulling yourself completely out to the pool and then swimming up to the top.
Okay. Is the pool at least, does the pool reach, using the bounds of my dark vision, can I see the edges of the pool?
Yeah, it looks like it's maybe 10 feet square, maybe a little wider than that in one direction than the other. And your tunnel, really just a wide pipe that you're pulling yourself through. there's a gap between that and the bottom of the pool. And as you're glancing out and making all these measurements, at the edge of your vision, you can see this face. And you realize that somebody is holding this bound Yuan-ti, one of the snake-headed ones, in such a way that his fangs are open over something on the edge of the pool. And you can see this trail of liquids coming out from behind his fangs and mixing with the water of the pool. And there's a struggle every few seconds, as though he's trying to break free but can't.
Oh, so he's bound.
Yeah, somebody's bound and holding him. You can't see who it is or what they're doing to him, just that his face is being held under the water. If you know the expression bite the curb, something like that, except he's got snake fangs instead of teeth. And you just see the venom draining out from behind his fangs and into the water, sinking slowly into the pool.
Oh, so question, is he drowning?
Probably.
Okay. Right
now he's struggling every few seconds, like he's kicking or trying to move his arms. You don't see his arms, you just see his face, cloth bound around his eyes.
I'm going to poke my head out of the top of the water.
Well, to do that, you have to come out of the tunnel and swim to the top.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to as quietly as possible.
There's no way anybody who's in this room won't see you coming out of this pool. I mean, you still have 45 of these stealth points.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just poke my head out.
Out of the tunnel?
No, I'm going to look at the top of the water. Like, I'm going to go to the top of the pool.
Okay.
And if I can use the stealth points to get out of that, if it goes sideways, yes.
That's specifically what they're designed to do.
Okay, that's what I wanted to be sure, because this seems very, forward of Birdie to do this. So
yeah, you pull yourself out of this tunnel. What's the goal here?
I want to see if there's anybody. I want to see what is holding. If there's anybody else in the room, and particularly if anybody is holding the snake down into the water.
Okay.
Is somebody pushing his head in the water?
When you come out of the tunnel and start swimming up, as your eye line kind of sees back into the room after you come up a few feet, you're immediately aware of an enormous snake man monstrosity with multiple heads like a hydra and big, thick arms, one of which is grabbing the prisoner by his clothing on the back of his neck and shoving him down into the water and milking the venom out from behind his fangs. And as soon as your eyes catch one of his many, many heads, several of them snap in your direction, and an exclamation point appears over each of this abomination's heads.
Okay. Well, I am going to if I'm able to use 5 stealth points, I'm going to get the hell out back out the way I came.
All 5?
All 5.
Okay. And as you turn around back to the tunnel and squeeze back in, you hear a loud splash as the bound Malison is shoved into the pool, and he begins sink. And you see him from your tunnel. Actually, I guess you can't. There's not enough space for you to turn your head and look behind you. But you hear the squirming and the sounds of water behind you as you pull yourself back in halfway through the tunnel. And so that's going to get you to here, with the place on decently high alert, which you guys back at the stairs would almost certainly be aware of as soon as it happens.
I'm going to I'm going to get about halfway through. So when he threw the Malison in the water, right? He was still kicking, right?
You heard the splash from behind you. You didn't actually see it. There's not enough room in this tunnel for you to turn around and look behind you now.
Okay. All right. Well, I was going to cast water breathing on him, but yeah, you know what? Forget that guy.
Okay.
Hopefully that's not the scientist.
Your goal is to pull yourself back out into the water out here?
Yeah, and meet up with everybody else.
So you're immediately going to go straight back to them?
Yes.
Okay. Make a stealth check at disadvantage.
That is a 15.
15. As you reach the end of the tunnel where it starts to widen out and meet the archway underneath the stairs leading up into the House of the Red Star, you become aware of lots of moving lantern lights, is the commotion you see. And it becomes apparent very quickly that swimming from here to there in the water is going to be virtually impossible. Because the news would have by now come out, and hey, something's in the pool. The water flows into the house from the river. Search the river. If you're going to make it back to the stairs, you're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. By climbing out of the water, sneaking from shadow to shadow, ducking under eye lines, and trying to not throw up on yourself or breathe too heavily. So you got a 15 on that stealth?
Yeah.
Risking the water or coming up out?
I'm going to come up out.
Okay.
Kind of go this way.
So you got this 40-foot wall.
Yeah.
Between where you and your companions are. And your options here to climb up over the wall or go under.
Well, I go back under the water when I get here, like, because they can't. Like, they're not going to expect us to be hiding under here.
As you're moving along the side of this building, ducking behind stones, the large columns holding up the side of the house, finding overgrown tufts of shrub to duck behind, they're actively searching the water, not the edge of the wall, which is how you're able to make it back. But they're looking to be pretty thorough.
Okay.
In this state, they're going to stumble across your friends sooner rather than later, because you're pretty close to the house.
Then that means I need to get there before they do.
Okay.
And warn them.
So are you going to go up over the wall or down under the water?
Down under the water, and then motion everybody to get out of the water.
Okay, and go where?
Probably, where do you guys think? Either on the roof or like just on the other side of this wall here?
Yeah, I think on the other side of the wall is the only place we can go.
Yeah.
Birdie, do you explain why you have to move with such haste?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll tell them. There was a Yuan-ti drowning, and like we're actually looking for a Yuan-ti. So I was trying to see if it was our target, and I don't know. I got seen, so I ran away. There, and I explained there was a giant snake monstrosity with multiple heads, and like when you just got that many eyes, there's nothing you can do. There's just nothing you can do but get spotted. He had all 360 degrees covered, man. It was
Birdie,
it was
I'm
crazy.
proud of you for risking your life in order to save that man.
Yeah.
I wish you had pulled it off, though.
Yeah.
As you come around this corner, you all hear the door open up as a search party comes out, casting lantern light over the river. And they're not looking in your direction because they're Metal Gear guards with...
Can I integrate myself into that search party?
Yeah, no problem. And after you're having your conversation with the drug dealer guy, and get the information you need, and a few moments later there does seem to be a commotion. Somebody comes up from one of the stairs that leads down into the first floor, and the story is that somebody what's his name? Sorry, I have to look it up. Utalash thinks he spotted something in the temple pool while one of the acolytes was being milked. And they need people to go out and search the river.
Can I infer from the way they talk about him his role or caste or whatever? Like, aside from just, like, what do I get out of who Hemtala is from that exchange?
Make an insight check at disadvantage, because all you got was his name.
Yeah. Almost. That's still 17.
Probably a priest of the temple. I'll leave it up to you whether or not milking venom was a thing that your tribe did. But you immediately understand what was meant by milking, and if this is being done in the temple, it sounds like some kind of holy ritual. So probably a priest of the temple, which means definitely not pure blood.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna integrate myself into this group of people searching the river, and I'm gonna keep my eye actually on the water line, and if I can see where my companions might have jumped out of the river, and hopefully no one else notices that.
Make a perception check.
Yep.
What alert level are we at?
Caution. Perception of 29.
Okay. They didn't leave like obvious footprints or anything, but while everybody else is focusing on the river, you're watching the cliffs and the wall.
Uh-huh.
And you do notice Adrex picking his nose far off behind the corner over here. Or at least a shadow being cast on a wall, which might be Adrex picking his nose.
Wait, hold on a second. They can leave shadows now?
I'll kind of move over here, like I'll move kind of quietly, make it obvious that I'm like trying to sneak up on someone if they're over here.
Okay.
And I'll just go around the corner.
And as you do,
and I'll motion for the rest of my group to get the hell away, to move back quietly.
Yeah, so
As soon as I see them.
Get the fuck away.
You're moving along the north cliff here?
Yeah. Are there any passages on the north cliff? Or I'm sorry, it's the south cliff. Are there any passages on the south cliff up into like little holes like there are on the north?
There aren't, but you do see light being cast out of the back windows of the temple here and here.
Yeah, we're avoiding
pretty
those
high
ones.
off the ground, and looking up at them, they're carved into the shape of the iconography you associate with the red star.
Okay.
There are 2 such windows. It's not difficult to duck underneath them and move past, though.
I don't think we want to keep going because that gets too close to the Malison quarters, which I think probably has a better view. I think this is about as good as we're going to do.
All right, then we'll call it right there for now. I was not paying close attention to how late it was getting.
Yeah, it's getting kind of late.
Sorry, we started late and we
Yeah.
distracted you with
Our
we changed
bullshit.
our minds. We changed our minds. We
How
wanna
many
say-
we wanna go back
fucking
to Planescape.
keyboards? I mean,
We want to go back to
That
Planescape.
distracted
That's
all of
what,
us.
yeah, like that wasn't just you. That was on all of us.
30 keyboards.
yeah,
not-
jeez.
Honestly, it's not even the 30 keyboards that bothers me anymore. It's the fact that he's been through 8 of them. No, 10 of them in 8 years.
I thought it was 8 and 10 years.
No, it was
No.
10 in 8 years, because I remember thinking that's more than 1 a year.
Oh man.
all right, I'm gonna go ahead and post straw poll in the chat. I know we got some new viewers today because I heard the follower alerts go off. I apologize. I can't pay attention to alerts while I'm running D&D. I have the attention span of a gnat on the best of days. But you can vote for whichever player you think deserves a little bit of extra experience this week. And
Oh, you're going to say, I apologize because normally we're more interesting than this. We don't generally get into keyboard stuff.
We
I was on break.
okay. It's
We were
not.
on break.
It's not always literally keyboard stuff, but we always get into something nonsensical and irrelevant. That's an inevitability.
That is our MO. It all gets cut for the YouTube archives, but
I don't have
What-
any experience to give out because it was no combat this session.
Sounds like you want
it
to
was the
give us
most creative
quality
today.
I am going to award everybody 1 blip for safely getting Whitesnake out, for coming around to the correct decision on what to do with Whitesnake. Well, correct as far as you know. I mean, Red's right. He is a religious zealot.
We'll kill him when the time is right. It's just not the right time now.
Just like, well, you know, you rescued Gray Fox in the first game, then he comes back as a boss in the second game. So, that's how it works. Who wants to make their cases this week?
I need a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I've only got one today, and that's for my flaw. I take any advantage I can if away by allies, regardless of the consequences. For Raazu floating the idea of marching one of us in as a prisoner or slave, and like it's looking like I don't know. That might have to be an option now.
So
that
I
might need to come onto the table.
I have a very brief line in my notes telling me what happens if you guys attempt that. So that might be fun. You just have your flaw this week? Who else has stuff?
Just says kill Raazu in center line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. No, that's fine.
It's in red blinking font.
I'll go. I got my alignment. I'll help you, but I want something in return.
Okay.
For deciding that he wants to let the Snake Man live because it made Adrex feel bad, but also slipping him like a letter of introduction saying, "Hey, you could go work for this dragon down here." And
how does that compensate Birdie?
Because Birdie has it in his mind that he's got to send people down there to kind of replace himself.
Okay.
Because Birdie actually does not want to go back to the swamp and work for his dragon.
I can't imagine why.
So he's got in his head that he needs to send other people to compensate because Birdie has this really high opinion of himself.
Yeah,
He
how
thinks
many
he's
people
awesome.
is one Birdie?
So, and then I had to and then of course sending the act of sending the guy back to appease my dragon god, so to compensate him for not eating me.
Okay.
So that's the only two I have.
I'll give you the blip for one or both of those, but you can't claim two blips for the same action.
I mean, either or is fine.
I mean, you can. I just don't have to award them to you.
Right.
Who else has stuff?
Oh, in the video.
And the video, yes. Let us.
I
know.
got some stuff.
Windy, what you got?
I got our place in the world is to take apart what isn't working and make something that is. From my eventual decision that no, actually, we need to go save Whitesnake because screw the world, we're making it better.
Okay, so the world is better now that there's another Yuan-ti snake-armed Malison out there alive.
Listen, we have to do our best to make the world good, and if that doesn't work out 100% of the time, at least we tried.
So, I'm going to quote Batman at Burke Road. If you kill a killer, then the number of killers in the world remains the same. That's what he's saying.
That's really deep. Which Batman was that? That
I don't know.
that sounds like a Val Kilmer thing. Was that Val Kilmer?
No, it was a comic book thing.
Oh, comic books are dumb. What else you got, Wendy?
I've got good is working for the benefit of someone other than yourself for lying to Adrex that I ripped his bag.
I forget who actually did rip Adrex's bag.
That was totally
it was Birdie.
Birdie.
It was Birdie.
Birdie.
Okay.
I've got learning new things is never wasted for getting Adrex out of the cave so we could get any info from Whitesnake. And then finally, I've got monastic tradition redirection for taking cloth out of my pack and using it to have Red slide down the rope.
Okay.
All right, I've got
I would have liked
my,
to apply more falling damage to Red, but unfortunately. What you got, Red?
I've got my bond. I will keep peace and prosperity among those in our land, even when doing things my companions or I find distasteful, for helping them get Whitesnake out, because certainly Red found that distasteful, but it was better than the alternatives. And I think that's actually it.
Okay.
I actually went against my other ideals pretty heavily in places.
He does care about us.
What
You
about
go
Adrex?
against your ideals in an interesting way.
Yeah.
Bring that up.
All right, Adrex. Ideals. It is my responsibility to bring out the good in people for inadvertently convincing Windy to go and rescue Whitesnake by outlining it as simply as possible about how he's doing good.
Okay.
Flaws. That sounds like a great idea for going with the way more dangerous option of astral projection instead of taking the spike with him.
So you think the astral projection is more dangerous?
Way more dangerous.
Way more dangerous?
Way more
here's the difference.
dangerous.
If you guys get into a fight and you and Raazu both drop to 0 HP, Raazu's dead and you're not.
Oh, you don't have NPCs or enemies blades that can cut that cord.
I didn't until Destil said that thing about Vorpal blades, and then I gave all the NPCs Vorpal blades. But you don't know that yet.
More Vorpal blades for us.
Aspect signature style energetic for getting into a barroom brawl with the rat folk.
Okay,
he just couldn't stop himself.
when we were trying to be stealthy over here, and Brick Road asked me, "Do you cannonball into the river?" I totally expected Adrex to fucking do that.
Anything else, Adrex?
Adrex.livejournal.com.
Oh yeah, you did put up a new live journal for this week. Okay.
He did.
Who had the
better
most?
watch out.
Oh, I gotta see that.
Who had
I
the
would
most-
like to.
You'd
I would like to.
You'd like to interrupt the DM?
I would like to petition he doesn't get that because he used the phrase boardy wordy.
No, see, I like that a lot. So
Birdie.
No, that's give him an
Birdie
extra
wordy.
blip for that.
so I'm gonna give him the blip, and then I'm gonna send you to timeout.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. Fair.
We give one blip for the most creative solution to a problem this session.
I would say Wendy for arranging all of that nonsense to get White Snake out of the Warrens. The Dignicarans.
That's fine.
For Wendy? Okay.
Yep.
Who furthered the party's goals the most?
Red.
Nodal?
Go ahead for a second.
Who furthered the
Red.
party's goals? Red?
Yeah, I think Red. He did a lot of scouting.
He blended in.
Who was the badass this week?
Birdie popped out of that water.
I wanted to give Birdie badass for making that shot. Or I'm sorry, I wanted to give Windy badass for making that shot.
Shooting
No, that's
the,
good. Listen, I appreciate it. But Birdie, I think.
Birdie? Okay. And one blip for the intangibles?
I'm gonna go again with that ridiculous shot at like whatever absurd
God
percent
damn
it
it,
was
you
actually make
guys!
it.
Doing my best.
I don't know. Is there something better?
No? Nothing better? All right.
Listen, you can't ask me to argue that I'm not great. That's not fair to me.
Raazu
Yeah, Raazu, 4.
being pretty intangible after we got into this place.
No, because then we have to give it to Adrex.
Give it to Adrex then.
So are we giving it to Wendy or Adrex?
Adrex,
Adrex.
For what?
for being intangible.
Well, he's not intangible, he's astral projecting.
I think that's kind of intangible. At least when he dies.
No, if he's ethereal, he's intangible.
I think if you stab him and then he disappears, that's pretty intangible.
And also, he's made out of ether, so he's pretty ethereal at the moment, too.
Like, I have a potion of etherealness. We can.
No. He's very clearly not made out of ether. He's astrally projecting, not...
Is he made out of astral?
You can't take a Planescape boy and then mix up astral and ethereal. It's not going to go well for you. I've got a tie on the straw poll between Red and Birdie. So we need one more vote on the straw poll between Red and Birdie, so I can give away some blips. So, Raazu. I'm giving everybody one blip for their part in freeing Whitesnake. Raazu, I've got 2 blips for you. Wendy, I've got...
Yep. Places the 2 blips, that's fine.
You got the whole 6. Blips are worth 500 right now, I believe.
Because somebody had to go and level up.
Yep, 500. It's funny that they go down, isn't it? Adrex,
Sorry.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 6 for Adrex as well. I got 1, 4 for Birdie, 3 for Red, and
So that's 2,000 experience.
Birdie takes the straw poll this week, so 1 extra 1 for Birdie.
Okay.
I actually came to 4.
Just-
Oh no, you're right. I miscounted. Yep, 3.
Yeah, I
I
got
think
3.
it's the most. Yeah, no, you're right.
All right.
Yay, I leveled.
I don't want to
We
alarm
ended
anyone.
exactly at 7 o'clock, even after going a little long.
Good
Can you
game,
imagine just Adrex just sprouting wings suddenly in the middle of this mission?
That would be
Hilarious
great.
would be-
Super convenient, actually.
Be very conspicuous, though. How many stealth points are you gonna... Actually... God, that'd be the perfect time to do it while you're astrally projecting, because it can be like some weird interaction with the astral. He comes back and...
Ideas.
Disgusting.
Ideas.
Alright, so I'm going to save this map very carefully so I don't accidentally overload it. I'm going to... Oh, no, not load the map. That would be real stupid. Let's not do that. Overwrite. I will reset up the black space map so I can actually show you the interiors of some of these buildings. Sorry about that. That was my screw up. The thing is, I do all the painstaking work to set all the black space out to block off parts of the map. And then I'm like, whew, that's done. Time to go make a cup of tea or play Cookie Clicker or whatever. Not realizing I actually have to manually save the thing and then I come back 6 hours later. Oh, I left tabletop open. I'm going to go ahead and close that, and then it's gone forever. I won't do that this week, though. I'll make sure to complete that.
That seems like a personal oversight, Brickroad.
Hey, I'm gonna be real with you, Astral or Ethereal. I once punched out a ghost, so you better watch out with that core.
Ghosts are ethereal. See, that's very clearly ethereal. Mm-hmm. We can have a 5-hour discussion on how I know this, but instead, I think I'm just going to say goodnight. Thank everybody for watching. I'll be back on this week to play more of that Tomb Raider game, and then we'll be back next Sunday for more Metal Gear Flumph.
Which Tomb Raider game?
Peace out, guys.
Makes sense.
Later.